Buongiorno a tutti, qui il vostro Anthony che vi parla e oggi continueremo la live di CSI. Dunque noi adesso riprendiamo da dove avevamo interrotto, cioè dal laboratorio, dove dobbiamo esaminare le ultime due prove, sarebbe a dire il portatile e il guanto marrone. Allora, andiamo prima a controllare il portatile. Penso che ormai siamo quasi alla fine del caso, manca poco. Allora, analisi al computer ed eccolo qua.
The data on Jessica's hard drive was encrypted. We were able to open it up and we found a motherlode of information on Beatrice Salazar. Nick's going through it all now. Somehow Jessica Marnier had access to sensitive FBI files, but she's not a current or former employee of the Bureau. Otherwise, she would have been flagged as soon as we ran her prints. There's also a lot of information about a Robert Marnier, a federal agent who was murdered a few years back while investigating Beatrice Salazar. I'll do a cross-check. Looks like Robert Marnier was Jessica Marnier's brother. No wonder she was obsessed with the Queen of the Hive.
You're not going to believe this, guys. I was digging through Jessica's FBI files on Beatrice Salazar, and it turns out she has a son. She gave birth over 20 years ago, but persuaded the hospital to cover it up by designating it as a stillborn. Then she secretly put up the boy for adoption. An informant later claimed the boy was adopted by a very nice, very rich family. Last name Rice.
Will Rice?
Very same. So, it looks like Jessica was convinced that Will was Salazar's son. She also made several notations about Manny Molina's. She knew about his connection to Salazar.
We have access to both Will's and Salazar's DNA. Let's see if there are 7 alleles in common.
Hai capito, ragazzi? Will Reese sarebbe il figlio della regina dell'Alveare Beatrice Salazar. Questa è bella. Allora, prima di tutto, anzi no, guardiamo subito il DNA, va? Così almeno siamo sicuri. Allora, tanto abbiamo il DNA sia di Will e quella di Salazar. Allora, ok, mannaggia, cominciamo già. Allora, dovrebbe essere qua, sì. Sì, è il figlio, perché vedete, metà DNA appartiene a Beatrice.
Jessica was right. Will Rice is Beatrice Salazar's son. But the question is, does Will know that?
I got an update on Humpy. The fifth and now completely convinced Agent Humpy is compromised. They're rolling out all their assets to apprehend him. So will we. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know.
Ah, ok, andiamo a chiederglielo.
I don't believe it.
Mr. Rice, I'm finding it very hard to believe you didn't know about Jessica's personal obsession. I'm finding it even harder to believe that once you found out about it, once you found out that Jessica believed you were the son of the woman who had her brother executed, well, I can't believe there weren't consequences.
You go straight to hell. I told you I didn't know about any of this.
Vabbè. Allora, ritorniamo al laboratorio. Però qua al camper manca ancora qualcosa da prendere. Strano, fammi un attimo ritornare, perché non ho preso tutto. Strano. Vediamo un attimo, ricontrolliamo bene tutto, Tanto il permesso ce l'abbiamo. Sì, non mi interessa, tanto so già che cosa vuole chiedermi questa qua. Di controllare il guanto, lo so. Però prima volevo vedere se ho dimenticato qualcosa qui. Perché non mi segnala come luogo perquisito. O troverò qualche altro indizio dopo. Vabbè, può darsi dopo. Torniamo allora al laboratorio. No, sbagliato, non qui. Allora, microscopio dovrebbe essere. Sì. No, così non dice niente. Proviamo così. Ecco, così sì.
It's a match.
Corrisponde.
Leads to the crime scene and to Jessica's murder. Let's take this to Brass.
Ecco qua, adesso abbiamo il mandato da Brass per convocare Manny alla centrale. Un mandato d'arresto.
What evidence do you have? The glove ties Manny to the crime scene and the murder. And the Salazar link can't be ignored. You've got your arrest warrant.
Ok.
Well, he must have forgotten he told me.
Certo.
That laptop was full of information on Beatrice Salazar. Jessica believed Will Rice is Salazar's son, whom she gave up for adoption about 20 years ago. And she was right. I'd say that's the kind of information that got her killed.
What do you want me to say? I have no knowledge of this situation with his lost mother and son.
And Jessica knew that too. Your name was in her notes. It certainly wouldn't look too good for you if Salazar found out you've been selling drugs to her son all this time.
I swear to God, I don't know about what's on that computer. The hell I did. I mean, I've been to jail and all, done some shady stuff, but I ain't no killer.
Certo. Le prove dicono che stai mentendo, bello mio. Allora, questo.
Your glove left trace evidence on Jesse's earring. Jessica Marnier visited you on the night of her death. And just like you said, she was there to tell you about the situation with Will. About how she discovered you were both connected to Beatrice Salazar. Will was her son, and you were her flunky. And that's when you realized you couldn't afford to risk the Queen of the High finding out that you were her son's pusher, especially when it was a son she'd been keeping secret all these years. So you took the red sweater Jessica had accidentally left behind, and then you mixed a deadly cocktail. Sourcing the ingredients was pretty easy for you, and with your expertise, you knew exactly how to use them. You found your way into the back of her car, hid there, and when she was distracted, you injected the speedball into her neck. You hoped injecting the rest of the mix into her arm would just make it look like another overdose death in Vegas. Washed up and washed out. But when you were through, you noticed you had a problem. One of her earrings had come off during the struggle, and you accidentally took it with you. So you carefully removed it with the gloves, and then you decided to take out a little insurance policy. You left the earring in Veronica's room when you went back to the apartment to drop off the sweater. You took the laptop from her room and returned to your trailer where you tried to flush the gloves. And if you had better plumbing, you just might have gotten away with it.
Dios mío. Dios mío. You gotta understand. I had to do it. This girl, she knew too much. And she wanted too much. You know she wanted me to set up some kind of happy reunion between the Queen and Will? That's insanity. I tried to warn her that Salazar is loco dangerous, that she shouldn't rattle the hive, but she was obsessed. I did what I had to do. Believe me, jail would be heaven compared to what hell the Queen would have done to me if she found out I'd been messing in her family business.
Va bene ragazzi, non abbiamo perquisito al 100% il camper di questo qua, adesso non mi ricordo come si chiama, Molinaz, vabbè, quello che è, però abbiamo risolto il caso.
Will Rice. It's really too much to hope that any case involving the Queen of the Hive would end neatly or cleanly. What can you tell us?
He was found in an abandoned warehouse downtown. Marks around his neck are consistent with strangulation. It wasn't a hands-on job. The bruising pattern suggests some kind of ligature was used. In light of recent events, my first instinct was suicide. But skin under his nails suggests this young man fought for his life. We're looking at a homicide here.
We need to run that DNA right away.
Ah no ragazzi, invece no, continuiamo perché è morto anche il figlio della Salazar. Pensavo che finiva qua invece no, stiamo continuando lo stesso capitolo. Allora, cosa abbiamo? Un DNA rilevato sotto le unghie di Will. Allora, parliamo con Doc.
Hi, Doc. Got some more questions for you about the overdose case.
You've learned something new?
Va bene. Allora, abbiamo però trovato il DNA visto che il caso sta continuando, però qua vedete non il camper di Molinaz non mi dice logo perquisito, non so perché. Vabbè, andiamo a vedere il DNA che abbiamo trovato sotto le unghie. Nessuna corrispondenza, com'è possibile? Allora, proviamo a vedere questa roba qua. No. Allora, non è neanche di questa. Allora, nessuna corrispondenza, ok, allora. Allora, questo è il DNA di Jessica, il DNA di Veronica, il DNA di Will, il DNA di Beatrice e questo è un DNA di Veronica. Ah, sotto le unghie, ok. Aspettate un attimo, però non abbiamo il DNA. Non abbiamo il DNA di Molinaz. Aspettate un attimo, va. Allora, secondo me troveremo sicuramente il DNA di Molinaz qui da qualche parte. Perché qua non mi pare di averlo, Vediamo. No. No, qua niente, qui abbiamo il tubo che perde e basta. No. Però c'è il bicchiere qua. Niente, allora vediamo, andiamo da Brass, chiediamo di interrogare di nuovo Molinaz. No, non può neanche interrogare aspetta un attimo. Eccolo qua.
I ain't no killer.
Your glove left trace evidence on Jesse's earring. Jessica Marnier visited you on the night of her death, and just like you said, she was there to tell you about the situation with Will, about how she discovered you were both connected to Beatrice Salazar. Will was her son.
Ma questa è la scena di prima.
And that's when you realized you couldn't afford to risk the Queen of the High finding out that you were her son's pusher, especially when it was the son she'd been keeping secret all these years. So you took the red sweater Jessica had accidentally left behind, and then you mixed a deadly cocktail. Sourcing the ingredients was pretty easy for you, and with your expertise you knew exactly how to use them. You found your way into the back of her car, hid there, and when she was distracted, you injected the speedball into her neck. You hoped injecting the rest of the mix into her arm would just make it look like another overdose death in Vegas. Washed up and washed out. But when you were through, you noticed you had a problem. One of her earrings had come off during the struggle. and you accidentally took it with you. So you carefully removed it with the gloves, and then you decided to take out a little insurance policy. You left the earring in Veronica's room when you went back to the apartment to drop off the sweater. You took the laptop from her room and returned to your trailer where you tried to flush the gloves. And if you had better plumbing, you just might have gotten away with it.
Dios mío. Dios mío. You gotta understand, I had to do it. This girl, she knew too much, and she wanted too much. You know she wanted me to set up some kind of happy reunion between the Queen and Will? That's insanity. I tried to warn her that Salazar is loco dangerous, that she shouldn't rattle the hide, but she was obsessed. I did what I had to do. Believe me, jail would be heaven compared to what hell the Queen would have done to me if she found out I'd been messing in her family business.
Vabbè, niente ragazzi, purtroppo la stessa scena di prima. Beh, ci ritroviamo di nuovo qua da questo qui. Ok, non c'è niente qua da... Non capisco. No, qua non c'è niente.
Hi, Doc. Got some more questions for you.
Sì, va bene, questa qua...
You've learned something new?
Allora... Luoghi. Andiamo al garage. Magari abbiamo lasciato un indizio dentro la macchina, qualcosa. Qua non c'è niente. Torniamo al laboratorio, dobbiamo cercare a chi appartiene quel DNA. Ok, allora ragazzi, poi adesso che mi ricordo c'è un'impronta che è questa, che non è ancora stata identificata. Ma se abbiamo visto prima il video, potrebbe appartenere forse a Jessica. E infatti
Seems as though our victim handled this press clipping on Beatrice Salazar. So, Will and Jessica have an interest in Salazar. I wonder why. Let me handle this. I don't want you to worry about getting mixed up in any more controversy. If there's another issue, I'll take the hit.
ok. Niente, dobbiamo assolutamente cercare di capire di che sto cazzo di DNA qui. cercando di capire. Allora, vaffa in bagno, ho sbagliato. Non ci credo. E di Beatrice, c'è il DNA sotto le unghie di Beatrice Salazar. Quindi è stata lei ad ammazzare il figlio. Vabbè, abbiamo perso un po' di tempo, ne siamo venuti a capo, ragazzi.
God, she killed her own son.
Listen to this. Dispatch received the call 15 minutes ago.
All I ever wanted was for my son to know a life free of this cruelty. Yet, the queen must do whatever is necessary to protect her hive. It must remain strong at any and all costs. If one bee threatens to weaken the hive or let in the enemy, do you know what she must do? She must eliminate it. My boy's blood is on your hands.
Però è strano che il computer, quando ho messo quel DNA, non mi ha dato nessuna, come posso dire, nessuna corrispondenza. O magari non l'avevano messo nel database. Comunque, ragazzi, abbiamo risolto anche sto caso. Cioè, ho perso un po' di tempo, però fa niente. La ragazza è stata uccisa da Molinaz e Salazar ha ucciso il figlio. Quindi abbiamo concluso anche il quarto caso. E adesso andiamo col quinto, ragazzi. Il quinto che è scontro finale. Quindi avremo anche un nuovo partner di lavoro. Scusate se abbiamo rivisto 2 volte la stessa scena, però stavo cercando di capire come andare avanti. Alcuni passaggi del gioco purtroppo non me lo ricordo, Ok, nella prigione. Ma questo è Molinaz. Aia.
Hello there, Professor. First time to Pendleton? It's as close as you can get to Nye County without actually having to step foot in it. You're going to be familiar with our victim, Manuel Molinas.
Drug dealer we just arrested for the murder of Jessica Marnier. He's connected to Beatrice Salazar. What's he doing in a Pendleton jail cell?
A few years back, feds decided they needed a facility to handle their more sensitive prisoner transfers in and out of the southwest United States. Someplace off the radar. Someplace like Pendleton. So they wrote a big check to the town council and upgraded their existing jailhouse in exchange for occasionally taking over the place.
Our tax dollars at work. I thought this building looked a little too metropolitan for a town of 35. Isn't that officer one of ours?
Yes, he is, but Sergeant Lip's been tapped before by the feds to coordinate this kind of transfer. Their plan was to quietly move Molinas out of our lockup and into this undisclosed location, then hold him here until he could be interviewed by a federal prosecutor and formally transferred into federal custody.
Not a bad plan. I wonder what went wrong.
Looks like everything.
Ok, ragazzi, ora abbiamo questo nuovo partner abbastanza famoso perché
I don't need to tell you.
abbiamo
This
visto i
is
vari
now
film.
priority number one. Molina's transfer was on a need-to-know basis. First I heard that the sheriff and the deputy director of the FBI had me on the speakerphone, screaming that somebody dropped the ball. So I got my ass out of there and secured the scene.
Is Agent Huntby still missing?
Yes. And based on his apparent effort to sabotage your handling of the DNA evidence in the Salazar case, the FBI strongly suspects he was a mole for Salazar
and now officially considers his disappearance UFAP. Unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, meaning he's a fugitive, and very likely a suspect in this homicide. Sergeant Lip should consider himself a very lucky man. Whoever broke in here to silence Molina's wouldn't have wanted to leave a living witness. We'll need to get a full statement from him.
Ok, allora, Molinaz era stato trasferito qua e quindi è stato ucciso. Allora, questa è la pistola, che la prendiamo.
It's like a small caliber automatic. A 22, maybe a 25. From what I've observed of the victim's wounds, this could be our murder weapon, but I'm letting myself get ahead of the evidence on that. Let's see what Doc Robbins has to tell us at autopsy.
Ok. Qui c'è una macchia.
Yellow powder. We'll want to get that back to the lab. The cell was locked during the shooting. We don't know exactly where the shooter was standing as he fired, but that powder might indicate his position.
Ok. Vabbè, nella cella non possiamo...
The keys are in the lock. Our shooter might have unlocked it, but he didn't need to open the cell door in order to shoot Molines.
Ok. Che brutta fine che hai fatto, eh? Vediamo se qui nella cella c'è qualcosa. No. Ok, andiamo avanti di qua. Oh! Che è successo qua? Hanno spaccato questo.
This digital recorder stored all the footage from the security cameras in the station. The hard drive's been crushed. We might be able to put it back together at the lab, but it'll probably take weeks to do that, plus salvage any data on it, and that's if we're lucky. I think we might learn more by just putting the case back together. Certainly be a better use of our time.
Ok, parliamo con questo qui.
Sergeant Lip, I'm Ray Langston. My partner and I are with the Las Vegas Crime Lab.
Yeah, great. But please, call me Tim. This is just a spectacular screw-up.
That's a pretty serious head wound you have there, Tim. Looks like you've lost quite a bit of blood. You might want to get that looked at right away.
You know, it must look a lot worse than it feels right now. Honestly, I feel okay. And if you don't mind, I'd like to stay here as long as you might need me. No, I didn't. Whatever it was, knocked me out in one hit. Nope. After I regained consciousness, I opened up the cell in order to check on the condition of the prisoner. That's when I observed the multiple bullet wounds to Mr. Molines, and I quickly determined that he had died of those wounds. Mr. Molines was here awaiting his interview and formal transfer into federal custody. I'd say approximately an hour before the federal authorities were scheduled to arrive, around maybe 8 p.m. or thereabouts, this tall, if I remember correctly, Hispanic male, wearing a suit, he enters the facility and presents FBI credentials. I turned around to reach for the paperwork, and bam! That's the last thing I remember. I woke up behind the desk here, and I went to check on the condition of the prisoner. I observed that he'd been shot multiple times and that he was dead.
What did you do next?
I called it in, tended to my head injury as best I could, and just waited for you guys to show up.
You didn't observe any further sign of the shooter, or whether he had an accomplice?
I didn't see anything. He was long gone, or they were gone. I don't know if he had help. Unfortunately, the assailant disabled our surveillance. He smashed the recording unit to pieces. What's left of that DVR over there. I don't remember the name on the identification. I'm sorry. I thought I got a really good look at it, too, because I didn't recognize the fella, but it's all real foggy to me right now.
I understand that this kind of prisoner transfer is on a need-to-know basis, but is it standard operating procedure to post a single guard?
No, it isn't. But in this case, it was necessary because, well, you might find this a little hard to believe, but our budget's been cut pretty radically, so the truth is, we couldn't afford to assign an additional officer. We were definitely whistling through the graveyard, I know that now, hoping we could get away with this one. We were wrong.
Who made the final decision that you alone would transport and protect Mr. Molines?
I did, actually. The sheriff ordered the prisoner transfer, but I'm the sergeant in charge of operational command. That means duty assignments, tactical protocols, and budget outlays. I was the one who evaluated our risk assessment on this one, and I was wrong. Dead wrong.
We all make mistakes, Tim.
Yeah. Only this mistake cost a man his life, Mr. Langston. When federal authorities need the building, the sheriff and his deputy actually work out of his house. Can you believe that? There's just not much crime here in Pendleton. Not much of anything here, really. From what I remember, he was tall, approximately 6'1", Hispanic male, between 200 and 225 pounds, clean cut. I mean, I don't think he would have caught me off guard if he hadn't looked like a federal prosecutor or FBI agent. Hey, let me know if you find something, okay? Maybe you guys can help save my job.
We'll do our best, Tim. Now, if you don't mind, I'm also a doctor, so I'd like to take a look at your head wound there.
Yeah, okay.
Good news here is you're going to live, but you're going to need stitches. So now that you've given us your statement, Tim, I am not taking no for an answer. We're going to get you to the hospital.
Okay, I understand. Thanks, Doc.
Ok, perfetto.
Well done. I believe we have enough evidence here to begin processing at the lab. It's your call.
Prendiamo anche questo, va. E qui.
That's the rag Sergeant Lip applied to his head to staunch the bleeding.
Allora, adesso facciamo un paio di cose. Per prima cosa, pigliamo il suo bel il DNA.
If he left it for us, I'm sure Sergeant Lip wouldn't mind if we processed the sample of his DNA.
Ok, poi ecco qua.
Blood. Sergeant Lip may have been pistol whipped. A fragment of some kind. It looks like it got wedged in the slide. Whatever it is, it's underneath the blood, which means it was there before the blood was.
Ah. Quindi prima c'era il frammento e poi c'era il sangue. Va bene. Allora. Vediamo se c'è ancora qualcosa da prendere qui nella pistola, ma mi sa che non abbiamo più nient'altro. Ok. Vediamo se abbiamo perquisito il luogo, Sì, non c'è più niente da prendere, quindi tutto quello che dovevamo prendere l'abbiamo preso. Questo purtroppo è morto. Bene, allora ragazzi, andiamo al laboratorio.
I'll call the coroner to pick up the body. We need to get a reference sample of the ammunition fired by this pistol to confirm the pistol fires .22 caliber long rifle cartridges. Unfortunately, not a particularly unique type of ammunition. It's a favorite among amateur hunters as well as professional assassins.
Ok, allora. Abbiamo un campione proiettile calibro. Allora. Andiamo prima analisi chimica. Vediamo un po'. No, questo no. Ok.
Pollen of the southwestern wood lily. This flower is native to Nevada, but it's rare.
Ok, poi. Nessuna corrispondenza. Sangue trovato sulla pistola, ma vediamo se è del nostro amico qua. Potrebbe essere il suo, mi sa proprio di sì. Ah, vaffanbagno, ecco perché. Allora. Forse ho sbagliato qualcosa, Ok. Questo va messo qui, sì, e questo va messo qui. Sì, il sangue sulla pistola della gente, però è strano perché il frammento era stato trovato, c'era prima il frammento e poi il sangue. C'è qualcosa che non mi convince, Cioè, se tu vuoi spaccare il registratore, colpisci prima il poliziotto e poi spacchi il registratore, non il contrario.
Blood on the gun here is Sergeant Lips, which means it was definitely used to strike him in the head.
Ok. È stato colpito comunque con questa pistola. Allora, adesso andiamo altre prove da esaminare, vediamo. Ok. Mettiamo il coso qua. No, ho sbagliato, mannaggia. Eccolo qua. Allora. Componiamo tutto questo, perfetto, questo va qui, questo va qui, ma questo no, ok.
Looks like there's a small piece of it missing. You know that shard we found wedged in the gun at the crime scene? I think it just might fit in this gap. Let's try it.
Eh sì, questo è il pezzo il frammento che abbiamo trovato sulla pistola, sotto il sangue, non sopra.
Yes, a perfect fit.
Ray, where are we now with Molina's case? I read Sergeant Litt's statement.
Well, Sergeant Lipp isn't telling us the whole truth.
How do you know?
We recovered a gun at the crime scene. And wedged in the slide, we found a broken piece of the unit which records all the surveillance footage. Now, not only was that shard stuck in the gun, but it was also underneath some blood. Blood which turns out to belong to our very own Sergeant Lipp. It means that little piece of plastic was in there before Sergeant Lipp was struck in the head.
But according to Sergeant Lipp, the assailant entered, presented him with ID, and then when the sergeant turned his back, the assailant knocked him out. I think he would have noticed the assailant smashing up surveillance equipment before he got knocked out.
You'd think so. You'd also think Sergeant Lipp wouldn't turn his back on a guy like that maybe he'd even draw his own weapon. But for some reason, that's not how it went down.
Hello there, it's Doc Robbins down in the morgue. I finished the autopsy on Manuel Molina's. So whenever you're ready, I'm available to review my findings with you.
Ok, allora, l'autopsia è pronta. Noi abbiamo controllato tutto, vedete? La pistola però, questa qua... Boh. Questo è un proiettile della pistola. Pistola trovata vicino alla vittima. Dunque, vediamo qua, va. Qui possiamo solo esaminare soltanto i proiettili. Aspetta un attimo, vediamo, giusto per provare. No, niente. Andiamo all'obitorio.
Nice to see you. How can I help? Absolutely. I have a sample ready for you.
Allora,
Here.
vediamo il campione di DNA.
I found 2 bullet wounds, both potentially fatal, and both were consistent with the damage you'd expect from a small caliber hollow point. One bullet penetrated his heart practically dead center. It severed the pulmonary and aortic valves and lodged in the ventricular wall. That alone would have killed him. However, I also found what I believe was the first shot. It penetrated the frontal bone of his cranium, just above the glabella. The bullet obliterated his brain tissue in an expanding channel from the entrance wound. It then bounced off the back of his skull and continued its path of destruction until it came to rest in the cerebellum. Death was quick, if not painless.
Well, this wasn't a mercy killing. One to the head, one to the heart usually suggests a professional killer.
Neither slug was particularly difficult to extract. Here they are.
Ok, abbiamo anche i proiettili.
I found a glob of what looks like mucus on the victim's face. I collected some for you.
Someone spat on his face?
That's what it looks like. You see, the less viscous bits appeared to flow down the side of his face. So unless he was already lying on the floor when he was shot, it occurred post-mortem. Anytime.
Ok. Questo ha fatto proprio una brutta fine, eh. Allora, abbiamo raccolto un paio di proiettili e della saliva. Allora, controlliamo i proiettili. Vediamo se sono dello stesso calibro, eh.
It's confirmed. The gun from the crime scene is the murder. Both bullets taken from the victim were fired from the same gun.
Perfetto. Quindi la stessa pistola ha sparato 2 colpi di proiettile che l'hanno ucciso. Ok, adesso dobbiamo trovare a chi appartiene la saliva. Quante corrispondenze! Dobbiamo guardarle tutte, ragazzi. Allora, dunque, cominciamo. Allora, non può essere questo, perché se inizia col giallo, no, non è il primo. Il secondo, vediamo. Scusate un attimo. Eccoci qua. Allora, vediamo un po'. Verde, rosso. Allora, questo potrebbe andare qua. Sì. Questo qua. Poi questo mettiamolo qui. Allora, questo mettiamolo qua. Ok. Minchia, siamo fortunati, l'avevamo beccato, ragazzi. Vediamo a chi appartiene la saliva, eh? Chi è che gli ha sputato addosso?
Beatrice Salazar.
Beatrice, lo
She
sapevo.
spat on Molina's corpse. I wonder if that was a message for him or for us. Edward, you need to see this.
Is this right? You found Beatrice Salazar's DNA in the cell.
She shot Molina's and spat on his face.
Well, she wasn't about to have him try to testify against her, that's for sure. But why would she risk trying to kill him herself? That doesn't make sense. Unless, of course, she also held him responsible for having to kill her own son.
But even under normal circumstances, this would have been a suicide mission. Not a lot of guys are crazy enough to do something like that. Even the ones that work for her.
I think she's crazy enough now to do just about anything.
Well, that may be true, but maybe she wasn't taking as much of a risk as we think. Sergeant Lipp described the assailant as a tall Hispanic male posing as an FBI agent. What do you really think the chances are that Beatrice Salazar has become a master of disguise?
I think we need to be very careful if you're suggesting Sergeant Lipp may be involved here. I realize we have evidence that contradicts the sergeant's initial statement, but if we're going to pursue this, then we better make damn sure our evidence is unimpeachable. Keep me in the loop, Ray.
Ok, abbiamo il mandato disponibile da Brass per interrogare l'agente. Abbiamo controllato sul totale la pistola, trovata vicino alla vittima, però ci servirà penso più avanti. Allora, andiamo da Brass, ci facciamo dare il mandato per poter interrogare il sergente.
Jim, we've uncovered evidence which substantially contradicts Sergeant Lipp's account of the shooting.
What evidence? What are you talking about? The guy was viciously attacked. His skull was almost busted in. I mean, it's not like he's going to have some photographic memory of exactly what happened.
Allora, la videocassetta è questo.
Surveillance unit was smashed before Lipp was knocked out. Okay, we should clear this up with him. But I won't let it become a fishing expedition. You understand?
Ok, interroghiamolo.
What's going on here, Captain?
Just a few follow-up questions, Tim. We just need to document everything for the record.
No, like I said, tall, Hispanic male, wearing a business suit, approached me, showed me an FBI badge and ID. Look, do you need me to sit with a sketch artist? I can do that if it'll help.
Ok.
Tim, according to your statement, the assailant entered the jail, offered you an FBI ID, and when you turned around to process it, he struck you over the back of the head, rendering you unconscious. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. It went down pretty fast.
No, stai sbagliando.
You see this little piece of plastic? It comes from that unit which records all the footage from the surveillance cameras. We found it stuck inside the slide of the gun that struck you. Problem is, we found your blood on top of it, not underneath as you'd expect, if your statement were accurate. It looks as though the DVR was struck before you were.
I don't know how that could have happened. Wait, couldn't he have hit me more than once, like after I was out?
If you were struck more than once, we should be able to tell from the pattern of the bruising.
I don't know about that. I've had about enough of people touching my head today.
Sergeant Lip, let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be. If necessary, I'll get a warrant.
Damn it. Okay, do what you have to do.
This won't hurt at all. My partner just needs to take a picture.
Ok, scattiamo la foto. Minchia che livido che c'ha.
And that's it. Like I said, painless.
Yeah, thanks. I told you, all I saw was a Mexican guy who presented like a fed, okay?
Ma, non lo so, mi sa che ti sbagli.
We found Beatrice Salazar's DNA on Manuel Molinez's corpse.
Beatrice Salazar? What are you talking about?
Are you familiar with Beatrice Salazar?
I'm familiar with the FBI's most wanted list.
Are you sure you never saw Miss Salazar?
I told you what I saw. I guess it's possible she came in after I was out cold.
Ok.
You know the drill, Sergeant. I want to be able to find you when we need you again.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going anywhere.
Va bene, allora, adesso andiamo ad esaminare le prove. La foto della ferita con la pistola. Ok. Combacia.
I only see evidence of a single wound. The bruising on Sergeant Lip's head is a perfect match to the shape of the murder weapon. That little divot there is right where the DVR shard was, and those ovals are consistent with the finger placement of someone holding the gun by the grip. There's something strange about the angle, though. The gun was upside down. To strike someone with a gun while you're holding it by the grip, you're either hitting with the butt, like a hammer, or with the side of the gun like you're swinging a haymaker punch or slapping someone. If Sergeant Lip was struck from behind, like he says he was, then the gun would be right side up. Sergeant Lip did this to himself.
Si è colpito da solo pure. Ok, allora adesso vedete, adesso andiamo a chiedere ancora spiegazioni allora, perché si è colpito da solo.
That's right. I had my back turned and he hit me in the back of the head.
Certo, guarda che mi stai ancora prendendo per il culo.
Here's the problem, Tim. You see those oval patterns right there? They indicate the gun that hit you was held by the grip. And if you were hit from behind, like you said, well then the gun should be right side up.
and it's not.
Yeah, sure, the first time he hit me, but what about after I was out? He could have hit me again, right? Maybe he wasn't just trying to knock me out. He may have been trying to kill me.
There's no physical evidence you were hit more than once, Tim. And let's say for the sake of argument, you were hit twice. Right on the exact same spot on the back of your head. It still doesn't explain why the gun was upside down.
You staged your injury, didn't you, Sergeant? You're in Salazar's pocket. And you used your position as duty sergeant to arrange to be alone with Molina's. Then you let Salazar in there. And let's be generous here. Let's just say she's the one who actually pulled the trigger. And then the good little soldier you are, you cleaned up after her, didn't you? You make me sick. And you know what? I hope there's a special place in hell for dirt like you, because I know there's a special place in prison.
It wasn't like that. I mean, look, you gotta understand, I'm in way over my head here. You're right. It was a setup. After Molina's was booked, I got a call. Same call I always got. Salazar needed something from me. This time, the voice on the other end of the line is telling me to keep my eye on Molina's. Turns out I don't need to look very hard, because the sheriff calls me almost immediately with the order to have Molina's moved out to Pendleton and transferred to federal custody. So I call my contact back, give him the tip. Then he starts asking me to describe the Pendleton facility and the security detail handling the transfer, and that's when I realize Salazar's going to take Molina's out. I decide to assign myself the transfer just so nobody else gets hurt.
How very noble of you, Tim.
Look, I'm not proud of what I did. This is all way beyond anything I've had to do for Salazar before. Usually it's just about providing certain information now and then. I can't.
You can't. Or you won't.
I wasn't there. All I did was unlock the door, and then I got the hell out of there.
Why do I find that so hard to believe?
You've got to believe me. See, this is what happened. I got this phone call from my brother-in-law. Swear to God, he works for Salazar, too. He says Salazar's gone off the deep end. She's getting the hell out of town, but before she does, she's totally cleaning house. And she's not leaving any loose ends, including me.
Was that supposed to make us feel sorry for you?
I had no choice.
You're a cop, damn it. Well, not anymore.
Come on, we're talking about my sister and her kids here, all right? Salazar was going to kill him if I didn't help her. Don't you get it? When she finds out I'm in custody, she's going to kill him anyway.
What's your sister's address? What's her address? Come on, we don't have much time.
I don't know where they are. That's the point.
Salazar has them?
No, her husband, my brother-in-law. He hid them someplace. I don't know where. I can't reach him. I haven't been able to reach him since he called to tell me Salazar was cutting bait. I think Salazar may have gotten to him. And if she did, my sister and her kids, they're dead. There's nothing more you can do. They're dead.
Okay, so who's your brother-in-law?
He works for the FBI. Special Agent Huntby. Gene. My brother-in-law is Gene Huntby.
Oh cavolo! Questo
Nice
qua
work, guys.
è il cognato
Set off the
dell'agente.
the DA. Sergeant Lip is going to be charged as an accessory to murder.
Was Brass able to locate Lip's assistant?
Not yet. He gave us Sergeant Lip's cell phone number and an Attorney General's waiver. Lip's been in contact with his brother-in-law, Huntby, within the last 24 hours. So, Brass is hoping to be able to find Huntby before it's too late for his wife and kids. We know Huntby's last cell phone call to his brother-in-law pinged a cell tower over in North Las Vegas. Brass has his guys checking hotels in the area, but so far, nothing. I can't tell you how bad I want to take down Huntby. But making sure his wife and kids are safe is now our #1 priority.
The key to finding the family is finding Huntby.
So track him down. I know if anybody can do it, you can. Keep me informed.
Ok ragazzi, allora, salvataggio. Noi adesso abbiamo il cellulare, il telefono del sergente Philip. Allora, del sergente Deep, che poi questo ragazzi è il cognato di quell'agente dell'FBI che nel terzo caso ci aveva accusato ingiustamente di aver manomesso alla prova. Ve lo ricordate? L'agente dell'FBI, come cacchio si chiama? Vabbè, ha detto No, aspetta, vediamo un attimo se riusciamo dal dossier a capire. Vabbè, comunque adesso non mi viene in mente il nome dell'agente dell'FBI, comunque se ve lo ricordate è quello, l'agente Hub, ecco, dovrebbe essere lui, quello che comunque ci ha accusato ingiustamente nel terzo caso. Ok ragazzi, interrompo qua la live, grazie per avermi seguito e ci vedremo la prossima volta. Commentate, mettete mi piace e iscrivetevi al canale. Dal vostro amico Anthony un saluto a tutti e alla prossima. Ciao ragazzi!